and welcome back to the Across the Pod NFL podcast for our second of two Conference Championship weekend previews. We've had the first game, the Lions-Niners. We've now got a preview of the Chiefs against the Baltimore Ravens. I am, as ever, your host, Andy Davis, and this week I'm joined by two returning guests who were both on last week. First of all, in the red corner, we've got Chiefs fan David Figgins. David, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Been a bit under the weather recently, but I'm buoyed by the victory against the Bills.
Well, he's a trooper. He's fighting on, and hopefully the Chiefs will be as well on Sunday. In the purple corner, we've got back with us today, as usual, when it comes to the Ravens, it is Shane Harris from Third and Long. Shane, how are you?
Absolutely buzzing. It's AFC title weekend, our first one in 12 years, and it's running through Baltimore. Let's get it going. I can't wait no longer.
It's really exciting. It's really refreshing because this is no disrespect to yourself, David, or the Chiefs, but it's really nice seeing an AFC game where it's not in Kansas City. It's nice seeing that change where it's in a different stadium. And I think probably for once, certainly probably since the first time you made it under Mahomes, you probably have gone to it for so many years as the underdog for the game. I think every other year you could say the Chiefs were the favourites, but I think you could even argue in that year against the Patriots, they probably were even, if not just slightly the favourites. But yeah, it almost must feel weird for you, David, to actually be watching a playoff game or be previewing a playoff game where you're not the bookies' favourites.
Yeah, I said this on the podcast last week, though, that I think Mahomes relishes that. He relishes and he'll find any potential slight or something that he'll perceive slight in a Jordan-esque style where he'll use that to his advantage, and we saw that last week. So it is strange, and we all knew it was coming at some point in his career. And if it was going to be any season, it would probably be this season, given the wide receiver room. But I'm not, particularly after last week, I'm not as phased as I was. But yeah, it is a little bit odd. It's no longer the Arrowhead Invitational. But yeah, I'm relishing the prospect, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we saw with Mahomes' post-game locker room speech saying how this isn't done yet. They wanted this. I think you can tell that he's spurred on by almost people doubting the team. So for the Chiefs, yeah, it's this is what they're used to. They are the only team with an active quarterback who's won a Super Bowl. The Ravens have got Odell Beckham, but there's most players in the Chiefs have won a Super Bowl now, and they know exactly how to do it. And again, we saw a couple of years ago, you lost to the Bengals, but you overcome adversity then, and I think you're doing it again. And once again, you proved in the Bills game. I know the certain wide right helped you a lot, which I certainly love to see. I think in this game they're going to be fired up, and really what could be their real to their detriment, or to their gain, I should say, is the fact that they have done something that Ravens haven't done, certainly since Lamar Jackson's been there and played in this kind of game. The Ravens have really fought off, really last week, particularly sort of playoff choker sort of narrative, and now they're also one game away from winning it. And I think for the Chiefs, they unlike the Ravens, they know how to win these games. They know how to do it, and even if it's in Baltimore. The Chiefs fans are going to be there. They're going to be there in spirit. They're one of the best fan bases in the league, certainly the loudest. So that's going to be actually with two great fan bases. I mean, I've been to both stations. Both are incredibly loud and noisy and supportive. So I think it's going to be atmosphere-wise, it's going to be great. But for you, Shane, of course, I don't believe you said you were there when they won it in South Carolina. I don't know whether you were around for that time, but even if you did, it's been a long time since it's happened again. First time for Lamar Jackson playing in such a game. Of course, we all know the story. He's probably going to win a second MVP. Obviously, the Texas game was pretty much as easy as it comes. I mean, 37-10 or something like that. So it was pretty much
34-10. It was.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was pretty much like what you want from a team who's won the number one seed in the AFC. It's for the Ravens. It's a different test because we were talking about it in the Lions episode, the fact that the Niners every year when they've made big playoff runs, they've always had it easy. So for the Ravens, they've overcome a test, but you haven't really had the test really because the Texans didn't really turn up. Their one touchdown came from a defensive score. So for Lamar Jackson, it's a big test. Of course, he's beaten Mahomes and lost to Mahomes. But he has been. We talked about it last week. He has been the life and blood, and life and soul of this Ravens offense. And all the big wins this season, all the big games, he has been the one doing it. So, in terms of that, I mean, you must feel this is probably your best chance your team's had probably in your lifetime of making a Super Bowl.
In answer to your first question, let me give you a bit of background on me being a Ravens fan. I've been a fan since 2001 because I like the colour purple, and I've been a massive wrestling fan. Raven is a wrestler. I was like, when I was like 15, I was like, oh, it's a cool name. I'll follow that team. So, of course, I just missed out on the first Super Bowl, but then I was there. I remember exactly where I was when we won it in 2012. I watched the game live. Yeah, as I said, so I was there for that Super Bowl. And the one thing about coming on this podcast, especially with you, you've always said to me, and I'm quoting here, I don't think the Ravens are an exciting team to watch.
But they are.
Well,
they still are. I think that's not down to them. I think it's down to that they're efficient. They know to score. It's not. I do think that still. I don't ever. I'm not. I'm probably looking forward to this game the least because I think. Well, the Chiefs have won it again. I'm tired of seeing Taylor Swift win Super Bowl after Super Bowl, and the Ravens don't excite me. I mean, they're still a very good team, and I can appreciate the players they've got, but I don't think I ever really, even to this day, go to bed and think, oh, I can't wait for the Ravens to play tomorrow. It's just, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's hardball style of football, same with the Steelers, I don't know. But maybe it's just that efficient football. Just is maybe I like the uncertainty. But yeah.
Back to the original question then about saying is this the best chance we've ever had? 2019 was probably the best chance that we had. And obviously we fell at the first hurdle. But I think, as I said to you in the season preview, I played that one a little cautiously because I was like, if I had my way, I'd say we'd win 90% of the games if everyone stayed fit. But I had to be a little bit objective and be like, I think I said 12-5 for the record. Yeah, it was 9 months ago. But yeah, it was something like that. I've always firmly believed in this team. I think we've got talent on both sides of the ball. We've got a leader in Lamar Jackson on offense and a leader who was born to be a Raven. I don't care what anyone says. He was drafted by Chicago the same year that Lamar was drafted by the Ravens and Roquan Smith. I absolutely love that bloke. I've got videos on my phone of him just pumping the team up before they play, and it pumps me up every day because the man is a leader. The man knows how to speak to people and get people wound up. Last week on our show and the preview that I done with yourself and Graham for the Texans-Ravens game, not one person picked the Ravens.
Yeah.
Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Just see what happens. Do it again.
Well, we'll find out later on what happens to that. But I think you're right. I think the defense is I think as key as the offense for you. I mean, Lamar Jackson, I think neither team really, apart from Kelsey, is working really with an elite receiver. I don't think you look at Zay Flowers or Rashad Bateman or Valdez-Scantling as being elite receiver. I think they look at the quarterbacks they've got throwing the ball to them. They saw they can make anything happen, and they're both one of the best quarterbacks in the league for this reason. But I think defense-wise, I think you look at not just Roquan Smith. I think you look at Madubuike, Jesus in the backfield. I think there's really not many weaknesses, I don't think, in this Ravens defense. So that's got to be key. That's got to be the key for you guys, is basically limiting Mahomes, because I think no matter how good your defense, even if you had TJ Watt, Nick Bosa, Chardavius Ward, in his prime, Tyrann Mathieu in your team, I don't think on your day you can stop Mahomes if he's playing peak Mahomes. So you guys are going to have to be on your best to beat this Chiefs team, because I said before start the show, they know exactly how to win these games. They're clutch. They've won so many games in recent years, and the Ravens have only really done it this year. So for you guys, it's absolutely key that the defense makes these stops. And I said it before with the Lions, I think you got to make the most of these opportunities. That I think both teams really do, because I think both teams are going to be relying on great defensive performances. I think for you guys and for the Chiefs, is making sure that when you see the opponent make that mistake on the offense, whether it's an overthrown pass, whether it's a drop pass or fumble, I think you've got to make the most of that, because I think this game is going to be down to basically who has the ball last. I think it's going to be back and forth. Both offenses are going to be doing their bit. Both defenses are going to be making plays. I think it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be a shootout, and I think players like Madubuike, players like Roquan Smith and others, and same for the likes of, the Derek Sneed and Chris Jones. I think they're all going to have to make these big plays and make capitalized on these errors. So, yeah, just how crucial is, you say, Roquan Smith to this game for you, Shane?
As I said, it's not just him, it's the fact that we've got basically Mark Andrews came back today as well. So apart from Keaton Mitchell and J.K. Dobbins, who had season-ending injuries, everyone is back. Marlon Humphrey's back on the defensive side of the ball as well. I mean, it's like a player that's gone under the radar, but he's played exceptionally well for this year is Geno Stone. Absolute interception machine. He's been fantastic. I think, like, in terms of position against position, and like, I think, and I've said it all year on our podcast, I think the Chiefs ain't as good as in previous years. They got a patchwork quilt of wide receivers. And I mean, so they've got like sort of Marcus Valdez-Scantling. They've got Justin Watson, Rashee Rice, fantastic rookie. He's going to be their future 100%. I think the defense is okay. I don't think it's as packed with as many stars as ours is, to be fair. You've got to look at tight end. You've got Kelsey. You've got Noah Gray as well. Mark Andrews coming back. Likely he's been playing out of his skin. So I would say they're probably on an even keel. The only thing I would give the Chiefs, in all honesty, is when you look at the quarterbacks, either side. I think they're both elite tier quarterbacks, but I think Mahomes is better based upon the fact that he's got more experience. He's been in 6 AFC Championship games in 6 years. That's incredible. And I think, obviously, with me rocking my Justin Tucker jersey, we got the best kicker as well, you know?
Oh, best kicker of all time, I reckon. But David, for you as well with the Chiefs, I mean, we talk about Kelsey, we talk about Holmes, but I think one guy who's been really, I think, stealing the show in the postseason particularly is Isiah Pacheco at running back. I mean, he had just over 90 yards in the win against the Dolphins, 80-something yards against the Bills. I mean, he has been, I think, even look at the Super Bowl last year, he had a big part in that as well. He has been, for you guys, pick him up in the 7th round, 5th round, whatever it was. He has been such a great pickup for you guys. And he has been, I think he's been, I know Kelsey got 2 touchdowns against Bills, but Pacheco's been so good at sort of that run game and sort of almost at times running the clock down or at times just giving that offense balance. We talk about the Bills and the fact that James Cook has done that for Josh Allen. I think Pacheco's done that massively for the Chiefs and really done what you thought when you drafted him, Edwards-Helaire would be doing for you guys. So just for you, David, just how much of a big part do you think Pacheco will be to this game and stopping this Ravens defense?
I honestly think he is the key. Other than Mahomes, obviously, I think he is the key to this game because the Ravens' run defense is awesome, one of the best, if not the best in the NFL. But obviously, Pacheco, as I alluded to last week, is one of the angriest runners that you've ever seen. And it was the 7th round that he was picked up in, which is incredible that they've managed to pick up a second-year running back or a rookie last year to have the impact that he's had. But yeah, I think that's key because that to establish that running game and be able to create the separation in the deep field in the backfield I think that's the key, particularly in play action or option players, because that's what kind of allowed Kelsey to get open last week and allowed Rashee Rice to get open last week was that established run, because they weren't able to just sit behind and go, right, well, this team, as in previous years, this team are a passing team first, second, and third. So we're just gonna sit off and we're gonna play light run defense and that's gonna work, particularly when Clyde Edwards-Helaire was the number 1 running back. So I think Pacheco will be the key. And if he can establish a run, I think that successfully, I think that will be the key to unlocking the game. If not, I think we're going to be in for a bit of a torrid time, because the pass rush for the Ravens isn't necessarily elite tier, and if they try to come with 4, I think it's maybe similar to last week, but they'll DBs and particularly the linebackers are very, very good in coverage. So I think the run game's essential, really.
I agree, and I think even look at the Ravens. I mean, Lamar Jackson, I don't think he scrambled as much as he used to. I think that's been part of the Todd Monken new scheme, but we saw like in the game against Texans, he used it really effective. When we did use it, he used great effect. So I think both teams, but I think particularly the Chiefs, are going to be looking to that run game. But I think one thing we could see in this game, and I'll get your thoughts, Shane, first, and I'll get your thoughts afterwards, David. I think one thing that could really win this game is special teams, and particularly kicking wise. I mean, there could be certain, but I think certainly you can look at the likes of, it could be a punt return that wins a game, or kick return that makes a big play and gains someone's points. But I think you look at the fact that the Chiefs won both the AFC title game and the Super Bowl last year via a kick. We've seen Patriots win multiple Super Bowls via field goal, and play out such fine margins. I think we looked at the Niners-Lions game, how an unsung battle could be Hutchinson against Penei Sewell. I think this game we could be looking down to House and Butker against Justin Tucker, because I think both teams, they're going to be playing lights out on defense, offensive, both doing really well. I think this game will come down probably potentially to who can convert the most kicks, and like we saw with the Bills game, even the Packers Niners game, a missed field goal ends up losing you the game, or at least losing you the chance to take it to overtime. So, you, Shane, just how crucial do you think that's going to be about how it could be a field goal battle in this game if both defenses play as well as we think they're going to?
Harrison Butker's an incredible kicker, always has been. As you said, the fact that he's won very important games for the Chiefs over the previous few seasons. But as I've said, and it's not just me with my Ravens bias, my beautiful Ravens hat on, it's the truth. Justin Tucker is been widely given the accolade of the best NFL kicker of all time. And for a reason, he holds the record for the longest kick in NFL history. 63 yards, I believe it is.
I think
that was against that was against the Lions last year. I watched it live. But I think it will. I think that both defenses are incredible defenses, and it may come down to this. Either way, I'm going to be on pins all night Sunday night for this game, because in all honesty, and I'll admit when I'm wrong, I thought the Bills were going to beat the Chiefs. And if Tyler Bass didn't miss that, they may well have. But I'm not saying the Chiefs are an easier matchup. You can't bet against playoff Paddy. He's always got something up his sleeve, no matter who he's playing with, But yeah, I think it might come down to who's got a better kicker. And if stats are real and the numbers don't lie, it's ourselves.
And what's your thoughts, David, on that?
I can't disagree that he's a better kicker, because I do think he's the GOAT in terms of kickers. There's not many with the leg that he's got now. Butker is a very good kicker, and playoff Butker tends to be a little bit different to regular season Butker. He has missed some easier kicks. He tends to get the longer kicks and miss some of the closer kicks. But yeah, the special teams, I think, not just special teams in terms of the kicker as well, as was alluded to earlier, about it could be a punt return, it could be a kick return. And I think, again, the Ravens have probably got the shade in that. But it's a weird feeling, because I've been a Chiefs fan since 2008, 9-ish. So I've seen a lot of rubbish when it comes to the Chiefs, and I hate to say this because of what came before. I kind of get used to the fact that Mahomes just finds a way to win, and no matter what point in the game it is, if you're a touchdown, I mean, you saw in 2019 when they went 24-0 down to the Texans at home in the playoffs, that you just felt like that they're still not out of this, and then obviously they turned it round by the end of the second quarter. So regardless of special teams or defense, I think that's the X factor, and at any point in the game he could do something. I mean, even in the blowout against the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, he was doing insane things with the football, running for his life. But yeah, the special teams, is definitely shaded by the Ravens.
Yeah, I think Mahomes, for me, I think I'm really sorry too. I feel like I slag him off every podcast now. Is that I don't ever watch a big game or any game and think, oh, Tua's going to better that. If we're behind in the final few minutes, I never watch the game and think he's going to be the reason why I win. I always think it could be Tyreek Hill, it's going to be Raheem Mostert. But,
You
for
want to
you
speak to
guys,
Ollie Butler Henderson about the mutual hatred for Tua?
I know it's I feel like I get a lot of stick from Dolphins fans. I think I definitely alienate fans sometimes, Dolphins fans in our sort of group for being so critical of Tua, and I think it's caused a lot of that. I don't know whether you saw my Twitter debate last week about it with someone online, but for yourselves, and we talked about last week with Bills as well, but particularly the Chiefs, you literally even in that Bucks loss, we always Tony Romo I think was the guy doing it. We were always thinking they could still do it. Give a touchdown now before 2 minute warning, 3 timeouts, stop. I think there's no scoreline apart from maybe you being 40 points down where you wouldn't back Mahomes to win that game. I think even with a lack of receivers, just imagine what you could do if you had Jamar Chase or AJ Brown or Hill. I mean, he had Hill to be fair. But to win a Super Bowl last year and to score that many points when the Eagles team was scoring that many points as well, every game I watch Mahomes, but I never watch him and go, he's crumbling here. Even when he threw the 2 back-to-back picks against the Raiders on Christmas Day, you still knew you saw a face he's gonna do what he's doing. And for me, that's something that must bring Chiefs fans, and you think back in the day, Patriots fans with Brady and Niners fans with Montana. It just must be so almost relief, and just you're there thinking, I know that it's going to be, even if down by 14 points, we know we've got this guy here. I think Mahomes has got that over Lamar Jackson at the moment. I think Lamar Jackson's been the best quarterback this season. He's a great quarterback, but I do think that, Mahomes has that edge over him. The fact that you do think that in any given Sunday, any situation, Mahomes can bring you back in the game. So I think, Lamar Jackson, until recently, had that thing Josh Allen has, that he couldn't beat the Chiefs. And now he has. That'll give him faith. But at the same time, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and this is the Chiefs' time to shine. So for me, I can't wait. I'm glad it's the early one because I don't have to, because I'll be working a half day on Monday. So I'll be basically did what I did last week, and I'll be recording the game, avoid the result, turn my phone off, and watching it when I get in terms of Niners Lions. So I'm glad this one is going to be first. Because I'm
so happy. I'm so happy I'm going to watch Niners Lions. There's 2 other people on our podcast that will cover that for us. I'm so happy with them. I'm going to watch that. I'm pulling for the Lions like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, I think everyone is. I like the Niners more than the Chiefs and Ravens, but I think everyone's back in the. Apart from maybe Packers, Bears, and Vikings fans, I think everyone's rooting for the Lions in that NFC battle. But we'll end it there. Before we do that, we'll do our predictions. So, David, over to you first. Who's winning and what's the score going to be?
I've been thinking about this all week, and I've just been flipping and flapping all week because I do think it is going to be tight. I've seen a lot of chatter online about how there's a potential blowout for the Ravens against the Chiefs, and I don't think that'll happen. But I can't back against the Chiefs. I just can't do it. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a field goal in it. I think it'll be 27-24 to the Chiefs.
Interesting. Shane, your turn.
One of two things will happen. I've watched this team all season, obviously. In big games against big teams, I like the Dolphins, Lions were doing well, the Niners, Seahawks, where I had a bit of trepidation going into the game, thinking, "Ooh, this might be tricky, and we've blown them out. That could happen again, or, which I personally think is going to happen, again, as we mentioned about playoff Paddy, he knows what he's doing. He reminds me of Man United in the 90s. They'd always get a goal. They'd always find a way somewhere. Being a United fan, I know all about that, right? But I don't think he gets it done this time. I think we're going to win 28-26.
Interesting. I'm going to go. I want the Ravens because, firstly, I don't like the same team winning it twice in a row. And I've seen the Chiefs win it enough times. And I'm just sick and tired. I'm sorry, David. I'm sick and tired of seeing every Kelsey reception or touchdown, seeing Taylor Swift on my screen. We get it, they're giving out. It's great.
Trust me, we hate it as well.
Yeah, I bet it's bad if you had you got rid of the Jackson Mahomes stuff. Now you've got this. It just seems never ending. But
Save us, Lamar Jackson. You're our only hope.
I don't know, even, you could watch Beyonce on Glastonbury on TV. You're not seeing Jay-Z every time he sings a song, are you? You're not seeing.
No.
I doubt you saw Victoria Beckham after every Beckham goal, or maybe did.
No.
I'm just tired of it. I know there's bigger things in the NFL to worry about. I'm fully aware that there's refereeing problems. There's so many worse things going on in the world in the NFL than this. Fans dying in stadiums, but this has to stop. And I think that it's just we get it. It's like every time we saw Jimmy Vardy, they always said, this guy was in non-league 5 years ago, and then he won the Premier League. It's like, yeah, we get it. We've heard the story a million times. Can you just...
Yeah, you've said, all right, I'll do
yeah. But I do think the Chiefs win. I would love to, I really want a Ravens win because I just think, I would love to see a different team winning. I've never seen the Ravens I've been a fan of the NFL for 13, 14 years, but I never only watched it properly since the year the Broncos won it. So I've never seen the Ravens actually physically win it. So I want the Ravens to win this game. But I do think the Chiefs win, and I'm going to go for 34-27. I think it's going to be a touchdown to win the game. But I think it's going to be a great game regardless. And that's where we'll end the podcast for today. So first of all, huge thank you to both David and Shane for coming on.
Anytime, but you know that.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
And I'm sure I'll be seeing one of you next week. Question is, who? Will it be the Chiefs? Will it be the Ravens? We will find out at 8:30 p.m. in the UK and 3:30 p.m. if you're watching in Eastern Time. This has been the Across the Pod NFL podcast. We are going to take a week break after we review the championship weekend, but we're back, back on Super Bowl weekend, Super Bowl week, I should say, previewing all things Super Bowl 58 with either the Chiefs or Ravens against the Niners or the Lions. I've been your host, Andy Davis. This has been Shane Harris and David Figgins, and we will see you guys for our Conference Championship review. See you then.